didn't think I had the smarts enough to put something together, I guess.
I was a little bit of a George Bailey, afraid of getting stuck in Bedford Falls.
Laurie Lindeen founded the trailblazing femme-punk rock trio Zuzu's Petals.
I was turning into that person staying in the college town and getting older in their 20s, and I started to feel like a loser. And I started making big plans for myself to get the heck out of Dodge. I started a band after a health scare. At that point, having found out at 24 that I have multiple sclerosis, I sort of threw all caution to the wind and said, I want to be in a band. I'd been trying to do that in Madison. Minneapolis is where it's happening right now. I went up there on a Greyhound bus and started my new life in Minneapolis. One of my jobs early on in Minneapolis was I worked in a library. So perhaps I'm more like Mary Hatch in that regard. I was a big dreamer like George Bailey.
Unlike Mary, Laurie, in the 1980s, has big dreams for herself that don't involve any man.
Minneapolis at the time, it's a beautiful Midwestern city, and it had all of the best music in the country as far as I was concerned at that time. There was Prince. He was the resident superstar. And then there were bands like The Replacements and Husker Du and Soul Asylum and the Jayhawks. I knew some of these guys because I had roommates from Minneapolis in college who grew up with these guys. So it was sort of course I'm moving to Minneapolis. Oh, I didn't mention yet that I didn't know how to play the guitar yet, but I was determined that it was going to happen.
It's then, while suffering health problems that are worrying her, that she sees a moment in wonderful life that inspires her to name her new band.
My parents had just been divorced. It was the first Christmas with them not together. It was very awkward, weird, broken family, sitting on the couch on Christmas Eve, lamenting. And I told my little brother and sister to watch this movie that's about to be on because I just saw it and it's an amazing Christmas movie. So the three of us sat and watched It's a Wonderful Life. And when the Zuzu's Petals scene came on, my brother turned to me and he said, that's what you should call your band. And starting the band was the thing that made me feel back in my life.
Zuzu's Petals! Zuzu! There they are! Bert! What do you know about that? Merry Christmas!
So Zuzu's Petals and the symbolism of being back in your flawed life resonated with exactly what was going on with me at the time.
The Zuzu's Petals hit Cinderella's Dream and other big songs began to put them on the map, as they say.
You know, people would like go, oh, that was a lot of fun. You know, you were pretty good for girls. What's it like being a girl in a band? Get that constantly. And there was another all-women band in town who had taken off immediately, Babes in Toyland. So we were sort of in their dust. But there were a lot of women starting to form and be in bands at that time. Yeah, we were treated like prostitutes pretty much at first. Mary Hatch, I mean that suggests fertility right there, you know, in her last name. And yeah, I think she seemed progressive and smart to me compared to some of the other characters in the movie.
While Zuzu's Petals blazes a trail to success, Laurie also begins dating Paul Westerberg, the frontman of the band The Replacements, that really starts grabbing attention. You know the songs, Can't Hardly Wait, I Will Dare, Swinging Party, and Laurie begins to feel the plight of Mary Hatch, a talented woman stuck being the woman behind the man.
We really fell in love, and I saw at a point with the band, and it was getting really intense, and I was starting to get singled out as the voice, the face, the representative, and that was not at all how we worked. And it made me very uncomfortable, and I was getting really tired from the road, and Paul had just gone solo, so and we bought a house, and I think I decided, he didn't decide, that we can't both be doing this, especially if we want a family. So I just sort of focused on making a home and becoming a mother for a while. But, my art completely took the back seat to his, and, he didn't ask me to do it, but I understood that that's what had to happen for this to work. So in that way, I relate to Mary a great deal. Like, I kept the house together. I kept all the Johnny stuff together. And Paul could be Paul. And whether that meant touring or disappearing in the basement for 6 months and cranking out a record or whatever, I definitely ran the show while we were together. So I can relate to Mary in that respect. She's the one who kept them together. She was solid as a rock.